The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent, joined by Addie Rich. Our podcast is dedicated to amplifying the voices of the disability community, which we are a couple of people that are involved in that community in a big way.
Where are you going to go with that one? That one sounded weird. That segue was like, uh-oh.
What's happening?
Yes, we have disabilities.
I am a polio survivor, and Addie is...
I have cerebral palsy.
Yeah, yep. You know, and I say survivor because, and people, will ask me, what do you have? The people that are questioning, and it's like, and I tell them it's polio. These are the after effects of polio. It's like when you have a cold, it's a virus. Polio is a virus, and it kind of runs its course. The virus runs. This is what's left afterwards. I'm a paraplegic, but other people, there is a long list of like celebrities that have had polio, but you would never know it because they're not walking on crutches. Neil Young is one of them, and there are just so many.
Yeah,
if you ever want to Google it, it's interesting. Yeah, if you want to Google it, you'll be amazed at how many people. But so that's why I say survivor. This is what's left afterwards. Whereas cerebral palsy, something different. You lack of oxygen, right, while you're being born.
Correct. Yeah. It's a brain. It's interesting that we're having this conversation though, because I talked about it before, like on our. I'm in my ERG, I'm employee resource group at work, right? And so we published, I can't remember. Oh, because they do like a cohort of people that come in. Of young students who like want to learn in the distribution world or whatever, right? So they almost do like a paid internship, right? But it's called the STEP program. Anyway, each of the ERGs introduces themselves and encourages these new people that are coming in to get involved with us or whatever, right? So you get 3 to 5 minutes to explain your ERG and, do your best song and dance to make people want to join or whatever. And so our little ERG, one of the ladies decided that she would do a quiz about like disability and disability history and all these things and sent it to the board of directors that we all are and was like, okay, here are the questions. What do y'all think? Well, then somebody wrote back and was like, well, you need to call us disabled. Don't call us this. And like, we got into this big thing of differently abled versus disabled versus like politics of like what to say. And it was just, we're all amiable people. So we kind of were like, isn't it funny how everybody just calls it something different? But you having that conversation of saying, this is the after effect. I don't currently have polio. This is the cast off of having polio. Whereas for me, like, it also kind of is a cast off thing. It is a brain damage, but it's like, it can be different for everybody depending on what part of your brain died in the traumatic event.
Yes.
So for some people, it's in speech. For me, I have spastic cerebral palsy, but you could have ataxic, which looks a lot like Parkinson's. Like, it's a rainbow.
Yep, absolutely. And a rainbow within the same diagnosis, we've said many, many times. Yes. Just out of curiosity, I wondered how did the differences kind of fall on age difference?
Like what we chose to identify as?
No, just is in that discussion and what was, you can't say that, and
I'm the youngest, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm 47, but I was kind of the champion for like, no, I want you to call me differently abled. I don't want you to call me disabled because it's not a disadvantage to me. It's a difference.
Well, it is odd that one little disability defines, our entire perception of by people. And when it's our abilities, if you were to rank and list our abilities, it's like in some people it's like 98 to 2.
Exactly.
I got 98 abilities and maybe 2 disabilities.
Yeah. Whereas, don't ask me to drive you anywhere or like be the person in charge of standing up straight. But, ask me to do your books.
Yep.
And I got you. But it was just so interesting to see it evolve into this thing. And then like, I don't know that we ever came to a conclusion except to be like, yeah, it's fine. Just leave it on the quiz. And if somebody asks and you're moderating, like make a statement of some sort that it's a spectrum and that people make personal choices about how to identify.
And it's not like you can't adjust it at some point. If you get more of a consensus, you could kind of go in that direction, whatever. Yeah. Right. So, well, good luck. I look forward to updates on that. My highlight of my week, I think, is it was a busy week. I'll tell you that. Since I've been retired, I don't think I've gotten up at like 6:30 in the morning so many days in a row. I had something every day to do. Some things, more kind of business related. Some things, maybe some appointments for doctors, whatever it was.
Yeah.
This was kind of lining up the same way. But I did make time to go to Costa Colina and go to their sports day that they have every Friday. And they kind of do a different sport. So you remember I went to bocce ball a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
This was Over the Line, which I saw being played at the Triumph Foundation's sports festival, but couldn't quite totally make sense out of it. So learned the rules, played, and held my own. I didn't embarrass myself or my family or anything.
Doug is evolving, people. Doug is evolving. He might not want to do exercise with like Jeff, Silver Strong, but he will go to the sports days. So whatever gets you out of your house. Honestly, but that is a good pitch, right? That whatever gets you moving, that gets you out of your house, whatever it is, if it ignites you, do it.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah. And I'm going back for this, definitely, because one of the things, I wanted to try it and I wanted to see, how I felt later that evening or the next day.
Yes.
And, it aggravated some things in the shoulders, but not nearly as bad, and I kind of took some steps proactively. I iced my shoulder when I got home and stuff. Yeah. So it wasn't bad. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
The fun far outweighed any, potential aggravation in the pain department.
Whereas I feel like my only exercise lately has been coughing, and I keep telling my friends, do I get a 6-pack as the award for 3 weeks of a cough that hurts your back every time you cough now?
That could be an exercise. Have you ever coughed so much that you feel the muscle strain in your chest?
My goodness. Yes. But I keep looking in the mirror okay, where's at least the 2 coming out of the pack? Nothing. My friend was like, no, you have to do dead bugs and things like that if you want to get those. And I was like, yeah, but I feel like I need to earn something.
Yeah. Very nice. So tonight, which is last night when you're hearing this, I'm going with possibilities to a special cooking class that they put together for a few of the members. So we're going to go to someone's home who is a chef, and we're going to home make pasta.
Oh, I've done that. I did that.
All right. So I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to have a good time.
Good. So I will report how we did next week.
Yes, and I would like to know what you made. Do you actually make noodles? Do you make gnocchi? What do you make? Because if you want to hear me swear.
I think it's noodles, but we'll see how it goes. All right. And then today, we debut the episode of Doug's long stalking of Jesi Stracham. Many people will probably recognize that name. You'll definitely recognize if you saw her from her social media and so much more. She's started a workout app for people with disabilities and so many other things. So we're going to hear all about them today. But yeah, it was, I probably said this ad nauseum, but yeah, it was a long process. And not that she was avoiding me and I wasn't really stalking her, but there's just so many kind of hurdles put in place for people who are big influencers. I just can't sit and have a conversation with her on the DMs and invite her to come.
Be like, hey.
Yeah, so it took a while to get through that process, and it was like I was courting her almost.
Right. Doug did all the grease.
And then Addie and I ran into her at the Abilities Expo, and I think that was kind of the final thing that kind of cemented it, because we did have an appointment with her before. But she had some issues that she had to deal with, health issues. Yeah, so she's good. She's healthy. I think she was going through something actually when we talked to her, but I think it was towards the end. So hopefully she's doing well now. But we'll talk to her next, and then we'll see on the back end. And we would like to say hello and thank you to Agyar Professional Training, one of our wonderful supporters. So we'll get to Jesi right after this.
At Agyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. UGYAR is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with UGYAR professional training and witness the growth of your business.
From the UGYAR Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
I learned young how to read a room before anybody spoke. Saw the questions in their faces before they ever knew my soul. They saw ramps and they saw scars, saw the way I moved through space, but they never saw the long nights, building strength they can't replace. And I've climbed mountains they'll never know, not with my legs, but with my hope. I'm not the story people whisper when I pass by. I'm not the struggle frozen in somebody's eyes. See me for the life I'm living, not the chair that gets me there. For the dreams I keep on giving, for the fire I still carry everywhere. I don't need your sympathy, I just need room to rise. We are more than surviving, we are futures in disguise. And don't call us inspiration, just because we made it through. We're out here building something beautiful, same as you.
Well, thank you to UGYAR Professional Training for their support. We appreciate that. And today's guest is Jesi Stracham. I have been following her for at least a couple of years on social media. You probably know who that is. And the things that she would talk about really resonated with me. And so I started at least a couple of years ago to try to get you on the show. And, you know, so I wondered, were you aware? Was I annoying? No.
No, the times just didn't line up. And
Yeah,
now they
yeah.
we found an alignment with the coast difference. I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, we run into that. Yeah,
The
quite a bit.
stars have aligned.
But
But
good.
But Jesse's actually the reason that we came back together, Doug, if you remember, because you commented on something of Jesse's, and I wrote
Was it
to
Jesse's
you.
that I commented on?
Yes, it was like a shake plate thing or something. You
Oh
had,
yeah, the vibration platform that I use.
yes. Yes. And so I had commented, and then I sent Doug a message and said, okay, I'm either a super weirdo or we know each other. And like wrote this little blurb because I had known him when I was a little kid. And thus began this whole adventure.
Yeah.
Now
That's
here we
amazing.
We hadn't been in touch for probably close to 40 years. And it was kismet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was
That is.
kismet. Yeah,
Oh
no,
my
I knew
God.
Doug when I was 5 and 6. I was a poster child, and he was a radio DJ in my hometown. If you listen all the time, you know the story. But he became close with my family, and then moved to LA to be a big star, right?
Don't know about that,
And
but-
we lost touch. But the internet and your post kind of made me go, wait, I think I know this guy. And then he said, well, I'm retired and I have this podcast and you should do it. And I'm like, no, I don't really talk about my disability, but okay.
Oh, man, I've opened her up to a whole new world.
Oh, it's freeing. It's so freeing. I wrote a book, and like that probably was the most healing thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I just let go of so much, and like it's not even just about the wheelchair. It's about like who I was before I was injured, and the pre. You know, we have like pre and post. It's like before Christ and after Christ, right? And like injury, post injury, same idea. Where it's like we have this whole other human in life that we lived a lot of times that we kind of just forget about and leave out. And I was like, man, I didn't realize how much of that trauma I was carrying into how I operate as a person with a disability. And I'm like, all right, we gotta like heal some of this. And so I wrote a book about it, and it was like the most healing thing. So I'm proud of you, Addie, for getting on here and like actually opening up, because it's so healing. It's so healing.
Yeah. And for
she's
me,
a
it
pro.
wasn't an injury. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, and she's a pro at it. For somebody, you know, that didn't have any history and it didn't want to do it, was reluctant, and she shines all the time. Which makes me look good.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I was born with my disability, but it was always like, how do I overcome this and do things anyway? Like, despite it, right? So it felt like acknowledging it and like really talking about it and leaning into it would, I don't know, not invalidate me, but in some way I was like, okay, all this stuff I was working to get past it, and now let's just talk about it for an hour a week at least. It felt funny. And now I'm like, nope, this is community and this is loving on people and saying, here's my experience. And so I get you, Jesi.
Yeah.
It's healing. It's healing.
And like you know, we talk about this a lot. I mean, probably every week now, just encouraging people to find their community whenever they're ready, because some people just aren't ready. But when you do, it's cathartic and it's, you know, a paradigm shift in your life. So yeah, give it a try.
I tell people to get over like the not being ready part. I'm telling you, community will literally save you as a wheelchair user. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your wheelchair using journey. Like, you get some wheel friends, it's such a game changer, just because it's like, wow, there's somebody in my life that actually understands what I'm going through. Like, I've been mentoring somebody he's been injured only 8 months. Okay. And he called me the other day randomly and he's like, I'm so glad you answered. I'm just tired of this shit. And I was like, you know, it's been 11 years and sometimes I'm still tired of it too. Like, I feel you. Dude.
Yeah.
I think it's part of being human. I had to remind him, like, you know, especially those of us that acquire a disability and like lived a certain amount of time. It's like, and even without, like, you have so much in life that it is hard and it bothers you and it makes you mad. Like, before I was paralyzed, I struggled with sex addiction and I abused prescription pharmaceuticals and I drank all the time and I had filed bankruptcy and like I had no money. I was living barely paycheck to paycheck. Like, it'd be Wednesday or Monday and payday is Wednesday and I'm charging my debit card as a credit card just to get gas to go to work that week type of like struggle. Yeah. And I'm like, man, being paralyzed is a lot easier than that struggle I was dealing with every single day. And when you look at like the struggles you had before and then you look at your injury, it's like, you know, regardless of who you are and where you're at, life's going to be hard. It's going to be a struggle. And if you continue to focus so much on, oh my God, I keep dropping things off my lap. Oh, I'm just so tired of having to do all these million turns just to like turn around or get to one place to the other. And like, if you start focusing on those inconveniences that it brings, then that's all you're going to see. Whereas when you get involved with community, it's like, oh man, I have these amazing humans. I have this amazing resource. Wow, I'm actually not doing that bad. Man, I need to give myself a little more grace. And it makes all of that struggle that you think is so life ending a little more normal and a little less of, I feel like it's less of a struggle because you're not focusing so much on how hard it is. Just it's like, this is my normal.
You know, that's another thing we do in our open of the show. You know, we always tell what our disabilities are, just to give the rest of the conversation context. So, you know, I was a year old when I got polio, so I'm a paraplegic from polio. And so, yeah, years and years of doing this. And really the way I was growing up, thank God, you know, it wasn't focused on really. So I didn't really focus on it. Went through my life. And when I got to be 15, 16 years old, I'm thinking, you know, it won't be long before I'm 18. I'm going to have to think about work. And, you know, it's like you can't just not think about it, because once you're thinking about work, I got to think about now work that I can do, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, it never leaves you. But, you know, and I hear, you know, this is one of the reasons why I really, you know, you resonated with me, is because you're really no nonsense, you know, and some of the posts that you would do, and a lot of them out of frustration, you know, you would get on there and it was raw and real. There's no way that it was, you know, just something you've been thinking about for a while. I mean, maybe thinking about it in a passive way, but somehow that you got to that point where, you know, the straw broke the camel's back and you had to let this out. And you are different than a lot of people I see now, where, you know, you talk about your life before, you know, your injury. I hear a lot of people that are struggling. They think they want to get back to that life, or they're trying to get back to that life. And, you know, they have to get to that realization where, you know, there's a new life now, and you really, and you're going to be much better off if you embrace it. Easy for me to say, but when you're going through it, it's very difficult. You know, so. Well,
that's the first thing I say. I volunteer regularly here in Charlotte at Carolina's Rehab, and I'll go into somebody's room and they just got their eval for rehab and we're figuring out, you know, what PT is going to look like and all the things. I'm like, listen, I know this sucks. And like, I'm not here to tell you you're going to walk. I'm not here to tell you you're not going to walk. That's not my place. I'm not God. But I am here to tell you, if you embrace this life and just figure it out and try to become as independent as possible, you will be able to live a full life. You will be able to figure this out. And, you know, the big thing, people, it's like the pain. The pain's not going anywhere. Like I live, you guys know what it's like, 7 to 8 every single day. That is your pain baseline. And if you don't stay busy, and if you don't have purpose, that pain is going to control your life. But if you got some purpose and you stay a little busy and you don't give yourself time to think about it, that pain no longer runs your life. Now, that's not to say that some days my pain's not so high that I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to get out of this bed.
Yeah.
But we also can't give into those feelings. And I think because we're disabled, we often get this pass to be like, okay, you don't feel good, you can't. And I mean, society, let's be real honest, like society is pretty soft these days as a whole. Yeah. We get a lot of passes for everything.
Yes.
And I'm just like, at what point do we hold ourselves to this higher standard and hold ourselves to this without overly stressing ourselves out? Like I just had this whole I was just hospitalized a couple weeks ago. I got admitted to the hospital for a week. I started running 103-degree fevers and they couldn't figure out why. My wound's not infected. It's cool. I got CTs to make sure my wound wasn't tunneling and there was no infection. My wound's great. So that's not the reason it's not healing, which was awesome. I got exposed to a new wound care product, all because I went to the hospital. But I had 4 days straight of physicians being like, we don't know what's wrong with you. We can't tell you. You have a little bit of bacteria in your bladder, but you self-cath and you have the amount that someone that self-caths does. Like you don't have UTI bacteria. But we're going to give you antibiotics and, wish for the best. And so they gave me a round of antibiotics. The fever started going away. But the biggest thing was I was in a very stressful situation. This wound, I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't consuming a lot of my peace. I miss showering every day. Anyone that's had a wound, you guys know, bandage change every other day. So I'm somebody who showers every day, sometimes twice a day. I'm a big sweat. Summertime's here in the South. We got a lot of humidity. Thank goodness it's been a little chillier than normal, but not showering every day. And then I have responsibilities. I still work full time. I have a fitness app for wheelchair users. Like we have these events that we're having to go to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to get on a plane. I'm going to have to do all these things. And it's like, I had this big week ahead of me where we were getting ready to move. And then I had to go to New Jersey. And they think the stress caused my body to freak out. And so like there's two different kinds of, there's like busy where it's like you're stressed out busy. Don't do that to yourself. You got to learn how to manage the things that come to you. Breathing techniques are my favorite. I stop and breathe throughout the day. But like you got to put a little bit of stress on yourself as far as like, okay, I need to have some purpose. I need to have more to do. And there's programs in states now, like I work full time, but I'm on a program in North Carolina called Workers with Disabilities Medicaid. So I receive full Medicaid benefits, even though I work full time. And like, there's programs in these states to help people like us go back to work, be able to afford things. And, for the first time since being disabled, I'm like, oh my gosh, I might be able to buy a house.
Right.
Holy crap. Yeah. Like not enough of us are homeowners. Not enough of us work. I have a spinal cord injury. And so my community alone, over 50% of our population relies solely on government assistance for their independence, solely. And that's not a way to live. I've lived on both sides. I lived on government assistance for 7 years before I went back to work. And it definitely, now going back to work, I don't want to say it's an easy process. It's not. It's a lot. You got to get yourself in this routine of waking up early, going to the
you're
office.
like, what?
It's hard. Yes.
Yeah. Navigating it all. But golly, once you get through that little like adjustment period of being on your own time to being on someone else's, and you start getting paychecks, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have to wait until the first of the month to be able to get groceries and do things. Oh my gosh, it's the second week of the month and I still have money in my account. Yeah. Oh wow, like it's things that you never think will be possible that then are possible. And it's like you see it in my community a lot where a lot of us just don't work and we kind of just are like,
and it's, I hear a lot about, I don't want to lose my benefits, but all those things you just mentioned, there's a cap on all that stuff. And you live a life in a certain way where you don't get to kind of break out of that. You may never buy a house on Social Security, right? And all of those things. And I always want to encourage those people to do like what you were just talking about. But everybody's a little different. You don't want to. At least I don't want to assume that they can do these things physically.
Right.
But I think, but at the same time, I think we all ought to test ourselves more. Reach for the stars, and if you don't get the stars, you'll get to the moon. That kind of thing.
Literally, and just work part-time. Like the amount of money, because the cost of living is raising so much, the amount of money you can earn before losing your benefits, awesome. And like I said, these programs aren't perfect. Like we, on the Workers with Disabilities Medicaid, for example, the resource limit for me being single and me being married is exactly the same. And so while my man and I are married under God, we're not married on paper because I don't want to lose my insurance. The resource limit's $33,000. For married or not. And it's like, hey, like just because we're married doesn't mean that we're still able to afford all these things. Like,
exactly.
Can we talk about this a little bit? And so there's still gaps in the programs that are really an issue. And, the government's constantly changing our programs and things like that. And like, there's a big thing. I don't know if you guys use catheter supplies, but like our catheter, ostomy, and wound care supplies just got lumped into a home health bill where they're going under something called competitive bidding. And so right now there's 6,000 DMEs across the country registered. They want to go down to 8 nationwide.
Isn't that insane?
Supply?
That's what happens.
Wow.
Right. So they're actually supposedly implementing this 2027, 2028. Now, this is what I'm a catheter representative or a DME rep. I do catheter, ostomy, wound care supplies, work for an end user owned and operated business. It's amazing working for somebody that's in the community. I got to give that a shout out because it's such a game changer. I've worked for corporate, and this is the best. I've worked at this job for 2 months now, and it's the best job I've ever had. But there's a good chance I lose my job in the new year, because of this whole entire competitive bidding thing going through. There's a chance that he loses his business because of this whole competitive bidding thing going through. And so now not only are you impacting end users of these supplies and their ability to actually get their supplies, you will put people in the hospital with infections because, my catheters are 2-3 weeks late. I'm not getting the same supplies I've been using for years because you don't want to offer those because you don't make as much money and it's all about a money grab for most people. They did this with diabetes supplies and it failed miserably. A lot of people with diabetes ended up in the hospital and passing away because they weren't able to get their brand and their actual supplies as a whole on time, or the right supplies that they needed, pumps, things like that. And so now you're talking about catheter supplies where urosepsis is already 30% of all sepsis cases. The number one reason for rehospitalizations, at least here in the Carolinas, for people with spinal cord injuries is urinary tract infection.
Yeah.
And so now you're taking this population of people that are already vulnerable, having access to what they need, and you want to potentially limit that access. And so I have a whole template. I have these things. It's actually on my nonprofit's YouTube, Wheel With Me Foundation. I dive into this in depth. I have a whole presentation on it. And in there is an email template. We are emailing our representatives every single month on this. There's links to find your representative's contact, whether it's a contact form through their website or an email. I recommend everybody, whether you use catheters or not, or ostomy supplies, do it. Yeah. Please email your representative. Like I said, the template's on there. It talks about this. This was buried so deep in a home health bill. I've been lobbying against it since last year around this time is when we started lobbying against this. A lot of the workers have no idea that this is a thing. They have no idea the impact it actually can have. It's just buried deep in this home health bill. And so it's very frustrating that this is something under attack. And it's also illegal, because these things are considered prosthetic devices. A catheter is replacing the control of a sphincter. Ostomy supplies are replacing the control of your bowels, essentially. And so now you're taking a prosthetic device and putting it in something it's not supposed to be in. It's protected from this, but because it's considered durable medical equipment, it's not protected.
Yeah. So the end consumers don't have any idea, and how it's going to impact the economy. Businesses are going to go out of business, and how many employees they have, they'll be affected. The economy,
But this is a perfect example of there, but for the grace of God, go I, because they don't care, and it is an economic decision for them because it doesn't affect them, and their insurance, whatever that may be, will not be affected by this choice and this, trickle down, right? Or more than likely will not, and they can just it just becomes a number and not a person behind it. But that's why it's important to like get involved in things separate of politics. Just care about other people. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Just think, if that were me and I no longer had supply and I died from something that's preventable because somebody wanted an extra 50 cents or a freaking yacht or something. It's just stupid.
Literally. Well, the frustrating thing is too, is like a lot of people don't realize, non-disabled people, most able-bodied men, it's a larger percentage than not, end up needing catheters due to enlarged prostate. And so it's like, do you want access to these products when you can't pee on your own because you have an enlarged prostate as you age? And so it's really frustrating because they don't see the impact that it's actually having. It's just like, let's make cuts. And honestly, the whole entire system and where it's at right now, I'm like, we just need to chop all these pedophiles' heads off and call it a day. Like, that's really where I'm at personally.
I'm with you.
Oh my golly, I'm just like over it. But yeah, so I wanted to raise awareness to competitive bidding. It's something that's on the forefront. We have like 6 months until they start implementing this, really, because we're almost halfway through the year at this point. And it's going to cost a lot of people their supplies, their health, but
their
then also jobs. I mean, a lot of DMEs are owned by people that actually use the products. And then they employ people that use the products. And so now
that makes the most sense, right? If you can actually explain the importance and how to use them and all the things, why would you get like some robot, like rather to, because like we say, it's community, right? It's community in the community. Hey, I use these too. I'm supporting this because it works for me and I tried a zillion others that don't work. Here we are. But yeah, super important.
Have you had some chances to get in front of legislators?
Yeah. So last year, when I worked my old job, I actually worked for a catheter manufacturer. And so I was with them for 8 years and I was very involved in all the different things. So we actually went and lobbied in DC last fall. And then we did some virtual stuff as well and met with them. But again, like nobody knows they don't know about this bill. They don't know the impact it's going to have. A lot of consumers don't know about the bill. Clinicians, they don't know about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just educating everybody on what's actually happening.
Okay. Well, we'll get all the information and links so where we can put it on our website, tell people about it, and we'll see what we can do as far as informing them about that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually. Thank you for educating us. And I want to kind of go back a little bit and talk about, I don't want to do a deep dive into your life before, but you made that transition. And I mean, physically, you had to make a transition.
You got handed a transition.
Yeah. Hey, you got voluntold, right? So did that happen? Did that start to happen right away? Or did you go back to your old life?
Oh, I went back to the old life.
Yeah.
I was going to walk in a year. Shoot. And Nikki and I, the one who I started Wheel With Me Adapt Fit with, her and I were talking about this last week of like, she's like, yeah, I was going to walk in 3 months. Like I was convinced. I was like, shoot, girl, I was going to be upright in a year. That's the whole reason I never got the Mitrophenoff surgery where you cath through your belly button. And I'm like kicking myself in the butt now. Yeah. I'm not getting that.
Which is very common, right, Jesi? I mean, a lot of people, and I don't know if it's a form of denial or, it's part of that gets you through it, right? Yeah.
Well, it's denial. Like I refused to accept my reality and that this was what my life was going to be. And all I could see was how bad it was. And so I'm like, I'm going to walk in a year. And I spent thousands of dollars on PT. I refused to get involved in the community. And about 10 months into my injury, I did this whole adaptive outdoor situation and I met my best friend, Kevin. And I was like, he's like, you need to just get over that walking shit. And I was like, all right. And that's exactly how he put it to me. Yeah. And I'm not even a year post injury. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. What's this wheel life have to offer? And I found adaptive sports. I started getting involved in the community. And that's when life really opened up to me. Yeah. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, yo, I'm not here to tell you you're going to walk. I'm not here to tell you you're not. Because I've regained some function. Like I have some hip function. I have some sensation. And that came years later. But realistically, like the chances of me walking like I did before, not going to happen. And the sooner, I wish I would have accepted that sooner. I definitely lived really reckless those first year and a half. I drank still excessively. I was just telling someone yesterday when I decided to finally quit drinking. was because we left this bar in Charlotte called Coyote Joe's, and it was me and my friends in another car, and they had been drinking too. So I followed them the wrong way down a one-way. And then the car behind me followed me and didn't know who they were, but we all went the wrong way down a one-way. And I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't drink anymore. I'm like, I think I'm invincible, and I'm not.
You're like, yeah, I got a little confused. The universe slapped you into a sit-down position, and you're still like, thanks, but I'm going to do what I want. And they were like, okay, well, hopefully she'll wake up before somebody else gets hurt because she's thought that she's just going to do whatever.
I just thought I was invincible, It's like because I coded twice and had to be resuscitated. I'm like, oh, well, I died and I came back. So clearly I'm just here to stay.
I'm on 2 of 9, so I got 7 to go. That's kind of the attitude.
I was like, I'm like a cat.
Yeah.
So I continued to live so reckless, and I did quit abusing pills. That was the one thing. I just started drinking more, and then I started smoking a lot of cannabis, a lot. And I would use it in the excuse of, oh, it's for my pain, it's for this and that and the other. And or now I actually do use it for my pain as needed, typically at night. But there was a time, where I was just using anything and everything I could to just numb the reality of what I got myself into, because I put myself in this situation.
The good old self-medicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What really snapped you out of it? Because I think you have to get to the point of wanting to quit. You can't have people around you saying, you need to quit, you need to quit, you need to quit. You have to say, okay, I'm done, and then move forward. At least what I've seen and had, others around me experience.
Now, for you to go all in like you've done, was that a part of your personality before? Because you've accepted it, and now all the things that you're doing, we haven't even touched on your app or all the other stuff that you do, or did this just turn something on in you?
No, it definitely, I was all in, but all in on the wrong things. Like I said, I seeked male validation from a very young age. Yeah. And my dad and mom are together. My dad's very much in my life. I don't have parental issues as much. My mom was an on-the-road truck driver, so I kind of grew up without my mom in the house. And I was raised basically by my dad, so I just had this male mentality, and it just getting paralyzed. Really, the first year I tried to keep living that life, and it didn't work. Yeah. My body, I got C. diff twice, which is an infection in your intestines. That's really brutal. Struggled with UTIs nonstop, put on 30 pounds, and I'd refuse to use a slide board. And so I popped over, transferred, and I would fall all the time. And it honestly was just a collection. It was about 2 years in is when I decided to change my mindset, nutrition, and fitness. I was just so tired of being tired. And I'm like, this life that I've been living is not serving me. It's not helping me. I just am so angry and upset and sad. And I don't want to be this way anymore. So I just need to make a lifestyle change. And it wasn't like snap your fingers and I'm just this great human. It took time, a lot of lessons, a lot of education. Just there's so much knowledge out there to get, a lot of personal development, a lot of healing and work on self, true work on self and honesty with self. Because I wasn't a nice person. I wasn't always a good person. And I got tired of who I was. And I'm like, okay, something's got to change if I want to live a different life than what I'm currently living.
Yeah, that was my curiosity, because I feel like some people have the ability to analyze themselves, kind of sit down with yourself like you did and say, okay, I'm sick of this, whatever this is. Do you feel like you were always that way, or do you feel like you gained that, in that moment you kind of decided to get real with how it was? Or were you kind of always that person? Even if it was being reckless, you were still self-aware.
No, I never paid attention to self at all. Straight up, I didn't think past that, just that fulfillment and that instant gratification. That really is what I was after. And I didn't, I got pregnant at 15, and it took me writing a book to really talk about that and address the fact that I got pregnant and had an abortion, especially now being 33 and actually trying to expand our family and get pregnant now. I can't help but really think about that a lot. And for me, it just, I never thought twice about any of my actions. I would sneak out, get caught, never thought twice about it. I got everything I wanted. I'd mess something up or get in trouble, move on to the next thing, figure out a way to just keep getting that fix. It was always chasing that dopamine hit. Whereas now I am like, okay, like you can't just constantly be filled with dopamine. Like you got to experience some of the lows.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, a lot of the things I talk about, Doug, on my platforms, right, are that self-empowerment, that self-growth, that those moments, and like that life is highs and lows, peaks and valleys are one things that you guys always can hear me talk about. Like truly, you can't be happy without struggling. The struggle is what creates the happiness. And when you realize that that's the game of life, that's when this injury, it's like, oh, let me embrace this thing. Because it's like, hey, that's the struggle I got assigned, you know?
Yeah, that's the valley where you're going to create some peaks. You know, they might look different than they used to, right? But like, obviously, like making the app for people to do fitness things and like working on the nutrition and stuff, you're kind of trying to help lead people to a peak that may be in a valley, which is super cool because that's true growth, right?
That part.
That's where you learn the lessons, right? Is in the valleys. You know, not so much in the peaks. You know, and I noticed too, you know, and maybe I watch too much social media, but the younger people that have come to disability, they seem to embrace and lean into the victimhood of it. I think I might have touched a nerve. You know,
I can't stand it.
Yeah, I can't either.
Well, it's toxic to the way society perceives disability because we work so hard to break societal narratives around disability as a whole. And I just feel like that victim mindset adds to it. And like, there's a difference between sharing the struggle and just constantly being a victim of the struggle. Like, oh my gosh, it irks me so bad. I have to watch my tongue because I own a business in the disability space that's joined with someone else. And I also have a nonprofit that in the disability space that has board members in the same space. And like, I have to be mindful that what I say reflects them. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think the community is ready for the true unfiltered, like version of how I feel about it, because it's very dehumanizing to us, and it's actually setting us back more. It's not helping us, and the pity's not working. No. You gotta chill on it.
I have some theories on things that would blow people's heads off, you know,
biting our tongue because we're like, we need this to stay afloat. However,
you know, and I know it's not for everybody. You know, that some of the things that I've thought about, they're not for every. I mean, I understand there are extremes in everything. You know, there are people who need 100% care, you know, morning, noon, and night, you know, for the rest of their lives. I understand that, you know, and I'm not saying everybody can't work, but I've seen plenty of people that, you know, don't have near the issues that I do as far as mobility. I never let it slow me down at all. Never gave it a thought, you know, and again, back to my parents, thank God that they, you know, that they were that way, you know, but I know some people from back, you know, when I was a kid who had parents that kind of did everything for them. Yeah. And you could see the different outcomes, you know, so I know of which I speak, you know.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say as well, is like, I'm very fortunate. My mom was in her mid 50s when I got paralyzed. Oh, golly. No, she was in her mid 60s. I'm sorry. Mid 60s when I got paralyzed. And, man, she was like, I am an old mom. I'm not going to be here forever to take care of you. You are 22 years old and I am not going to be able to take care of you. So you need to figure it out. And my mom would force me to, like, if I poop myself, I had C. diff, which is uncontrollable bowel movements. It's like the worst infection you could ever have in your bowels. It could kill you if it goes untreated, the whole thing. And she made me clean myself up every hour or so when I would poop myself and figure it out. And then she'd come and like help me in the end. But yeah, and she's like, I had to go around the corner and cry. Like it was not, it was not easy, but I'm an old mom and I would be doing you a disservice if you didn't figure it out. Like when I first got injured, she would make me make my own bed, all the things. And then 5-6 years in, she would offer to do it for me and actually help me out because she knew I could do it. But she made sure that I was actually independent before she helped me with my independence. And that is where a lot of parents fail. They just do everything for their kids. And now you are no longer able to do it. And you have this entitled child who's like, well, you got to do X, Y, and Z for me, but
and that's whole separate a disability too, right? Like there is a whole generation of children who are like, you owe me because I'm on the planet and I didn't ask to come here. It has nothing to do with disability. It's like, I'm scared when their parents go away, who will they be or what will society be? I'm like, some of them, I'm glad I'm going to be dead because I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be with, cared for by somebody who had their handheld all the time because,
Yeah. That's, I don't know if I've ever told this here, but when I talk about my parents and the way they raised us, we were toddlers in braces and crutches. And if we were out in public, if we fell, we had to get up ourselves. But a toddler is not just going to struggle silently. A toddler is going to be throwing a tantrum. And here's the parent standing by while this child is crying, help me up. And they had the courage to withstand those stares and the looks.
That speaks a lot on the parents. I think the recording stopped.
I think it was just the AI to take notes. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I'm like, it said recording stopped. I was like, no.
You're like, don't do it. So I'm curious, Jesi, because you made a choice, obviously, to like join into social media and put yourself out there and create this brand. And that's also challenging, like when you're trying to come from a certain place, right? And then grow yourself and do all the mental gymnastics to kind of get yourself to who you are now. What made you decide like, okay, social media, I'm going to take it on? Because it's a big place and people suck. And, why did you decide, okay, I'm not just going to let this be?
When I fell on the floor in a hotel room, I recorded my meltdown and put it on YouTube. And there was a lot of people that related to it. And I was like, man, if they relate to this like negative meltdown, I'm like, would they relate to like the good sides of life too? Could I impact people with good? And so that's really what made me start sharing. But it definitely, as I've gotten older, it's gotten less appealing. And it goes back to the community because I just don't feel like I get to be fully authentic without being demonized for how I feel. I often joke with Nikki, I'm like, honestly, I just need to go into comedy so I can say what I want and say what I mean because that's the only time it's really accepted. In this whole entire thing where everybody always has to be right all the time. And if I don't agree with your opinion, then you're wrong. And it's like, no, actually, like we have different opinions. But that's not allowed anymore, And so I'd be lying if I said I hadn't been struggling recently to share online. Because it's not easy. The reason I started was to encourage and help break mindsets and like push boundaries of like, hey, we're not entitled to government benefits because we're not. Like you go to any other country, some people don't even get it unless they have socialized medicine. So like, it's just it's wild to me the entitlement that our community often has. For example, our fitness app is $14.99 a month. It has full programming, 2 live workouts in it a week, a journal feature, community feature. We add workouts to it regularly. More members of the community are going to be uploading their stuff to it as well. We're adding more people to it. So the app's constantly growing and developing. At $14.99 a week, it's like a personal trainer in your pocket. 2 live calls that you could literally get on, work out for live on a Zoom. And the amount of messages we get of, I'm in a wheelchair, I can't afford this. And I'm like, oh man, we're in wheelchairs too. And we actually have to pay like a fee to host the app. And we have to spend our time away from our jobs to upload videos into the app. And like it costs money to have the app. This is not a free thing for us just to put out here in the world. And our community is so entitled to get things for free. Like, I'm just like, in what world this isn't the world we live in. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean that everything's automatically handed to you. We just have to work twice as hard to get the things. And I think that's the frustrating part is like people think, oh, well, I'll get this big settlement. I'll do this. And like, that's not going to save you. I didn't get a settlement. Like, I believe that the settlement we got was like $30,000 at the end of the day from the accident that I was in, not at fault on my own at all. And that's not enough for the rest of life, right? And that's such a small, like, I'm grateful I got it because most people don't. But like, that's not the answer here. That's not the key here. And it's just so frustrating because it's like this, I'm so entitled to get things for free that I'm not going to work for anything.
They miss out on all of the, the intrinsic things that come with working and knowing you did a good job. At the end of the day, you make money, but you're contributing. That means a lot to me. It always has.
Exactly. And it gives you so much purpose. Yeah. Just so much. That purpose part is so, I think that's the most important thing. Like, you got to have some kind of purpose outside yourself.
Yeah.
So you also do like motivational speaking as well?
Yeah. I got a couple speaking engagements this year.
You sounded like, yeah. But I mean, obviously you're driven to do stuff. Like, you have the app, you have your nonprofit. Like, what made you say, okay, we need this app and we need this nonprofit, and I'm going to speak, even if you don't sound like you're excited about it right now. But I mean, it was me when Doug was like, come help me with the podcast. I was like, okay. And now
I've been speaking since like 2018 or so. I honestly, I didn't mean for it to come across. I do love speaking.
We just have to tease you.
It's like, it is one of my favorite things to do. It's fun to move around. Yeah. I have my next speaking engagement is actually at the end of May, and it's in New York, Niagara Falls. There's a Disability Awareness Day situation going on up there. DD Day is what it's called. If anyone's any listeners up in that area, come to the event, hear me speak, work out with me, do all the things. But, oh gosh, the nonprofit came first. A year into my injury, I raced off road for Polaris. I raced in a single seat side by side in the woods. And one of my sponsors was a clothing company, and we made custom apparel and wanted to donate a portion of it to a nonprofit. And my goal was a nonprofit that served the independence of wheelchair users and integrated them back into independent society. And there wasn't really anything out there like that at the time. And so she helped me found this nonprofit. So we have a 501c3 called Wheel With Me Foundation. We host a yearly summer camp, quarterly empowerment weeks where members of the community teach their skill or trade on Zoom. And those are recorded and on our YouTube channel. And then we're actively raising money to build a transitional community to integrate wheelchair users back into independent society. I started sharing online, and I started my own fitness journey. And so I was just sharing my own fitness journey online, got some certifications for adaptive training, nutrition coaching, things like that. And this app developer reaches out to me, and he's like, hey, there's no app for wheelchair users, and I think you should be the one to start it. And I was like, well, I don't really have much money to do that and all the things. And he's like, well, I'll help you out. And so this app developer helped me build this app that there was nothing like it for wheelchair users. And then about a year in, Nikki kept asking me, hey, how do I start an app? How do I start an app? Now, Nikki Walsh Adapt Fit is literally the best personal trainer, in my opinion, for our community. Like, she is just really great at what she does, very knowledgeable when it comes to body movement. Just an awesome personal trainer that uses a wheelchair. And I was like, man, if this girl starts a fitness app, like, my app's done for. I was like, you're not starting an app. We're collaborating. We're going to rebrand this joker, and it's our app now. And that's exactly what we did. So we merged, because I don't have to be the one to do it, right? Like, I don't care about being the one. I just literally want to get this stuff out to people. And so we merged together, and Wheel With Me Adapt Fit was born in 2023. December 2023 is when we became fully established. And yeah, it's just been such a cool roller coaster from there. And then I built my brand, Jesi Stracham, released the book last year, full personal development memoir of my entire life. I talk about how literally I came out of the womb born to be on wheels and got myself a permanent set, you know? And then,
haha, look at this.
literally. And yeah, and I travel, speak. I think my next big adventure is working on kind of like a little mini book about creating your own accessibility when it comes to going back to work. Both the last 2 jobs I've had, I've proposed them to the company and they built the job for me. And so I think it's just so important that we go out and just get what it is we're after and really feel empowered to do that. And so like that's my next big goal and thing that I want to work on is getting the community to feel a little more empowered and capable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think everybody should realize that they're capable of way more than they think they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I stress yourself.
I mean, with plot twist stuff, that's what I say, right? Like my thing is your limit is in your mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's that. Wherever the top of where you're going to go is where you dream the top is, right? So if you're like, nope, there's no end for me, there's no end for you because you will continue to strive.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll have our eyes on you and help you wherever you need it, in some small way. If we can, we're here for you. Like I say, we'll put all your information on the website. We'll talk about it, and as this vote gets closer, if you want to let us know and we'll ramp it up, that kind of thing.
So it's already, the thing is, it's already been voted on and passed. Mm-hmm. We have to write in to try and get it overturned and delayed. Okay. The big goal is to get it delayed and then overturned. Right. They just need to just undo this. And hopefully, realistically, our choices for candidates the last few elections have not been great on either side. And I'm really hoping that we get some good options in there of some real humans that aren't pedophiles, that aren't crappy, that actually want to help America and true Americans, it's wild out here right now. And I think everybody feels it, right? We're tired of not being able to live and our things being taken away and everything being so high. And it's just at what point do we put America first? And so use your voice. Disabled people, we have a voice. We're actually a large part of the population. We just got to use that voice. We got to shout from the rooftops, email your local legislators, your state legislators, all the above. When I got off Social Security disability, I had to go back and forth with them. I think everybody that's got off Social Security has been through this at some point where you report, and they're like, okay, you owe us money. Luckily, there's an organization out there. It's free to use. They navigate that whole process for you and tell you when your disability checks are no longer yours when you go back to work. And so they overpaid me for months. I ended up paying back Social Security $18,000. They tried to say that, and I saved it all. So I had it because my worker told me when it was no longer mine. I did have to pay taxes on it, though, which really pissed me off. Yeah. But they tried to say that the check they cashed bounced after they took the money out of my account. And my worker got me in contact with my local congressman, and I had to email him to get it all sorted out after fighting back and forth for 4 months. But he got it sorted out like that. Literally 2 weeks later, I had a written letter from him. I had an email, all the above, and it was taken care of. And so I say that to say our voices don't go unheard. The more persistent we are, the more we can actually get what we need across. And so use your voice. Luckily, we still live in a democracy here. So use that voice you have, email legislators and get your voice heard on whatever issue it is that you want to raise awareness to. But if you use catheters, ostomy, or wound care supplies, this is front and foremost right now.
Yeah, exactly. You'll feel it if you don't say it.
No, yeah.
Right. It's a very large group member-wise, and it's also very impactful economically. It's trillions of dollars that we have, that we use in our spending habits. So, all righty, we're going to let you go. Thank you very much. Thank you for not blocking me as I was trying to. I'm kidding.
No, your persistence is appreciated. Honestly, I tried to message everybody back, but persistence is really what gets through to me.
Well, and that's what I was thinking. I know you're busy. I can see all the things you're doing. And so I just, and I didn't want to annoy you. So I would just wait a little while and then I'd reach out again. And so, but
annoyed away. Because like I said, social media and being online, it's basically a hobby.
Yeah.
I do have a full-time job. I do the things. So if you guys have questions, if you need things, all the above, just be persistent.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will respond eventually.
Well, pleasure having you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that, I was bouncing back and forth between Kaiser and Casa Colina. Obviously, I won't say obviously, but what had happened was I got spun around, and as I mentioned, I broke my back and severed my spinal cord. I didn't know that my legs weren't working, other than the fact that the car next to me that hit me was on fire. I knew that I had 21 gallons of gas in my tank.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
From the UGYAR Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
What I love about Jesi's story, like you talk about having this long runway to find people and get to people and whatever, but do you notice all the people that we talk to, they're like, I never intended to use social media for this, or I never intended for it to become this. Like, we're lucky that we're kind of stumbling upon them, and like, we're kind of learning, but I mean, not like we're going to be something ginormous, but we do know what that's kind of like, right? And like getting more and more listeners and getting more notice and like having a bit more reach and being able to talk to different people. Expanding to the more of the U.S. because you started with people you knew, and as people are hearing about us, it's nice. But I mean, you also realize, like, it's funny, you get a kind of moment of celebrity, and then you're like, oh, they're people just like us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and they've got time constraints, and especially they're feeling it. The bigger they get, the more people who are wanting to enjoy some of the time with them. So
and a lot of us that don't monetize it also work a full-time job. So it's like, this is my 10 p.m. recording, like Kai, who has a full-time job and all that stuff. So he's like, yes, on the weekend and at 10 p.m. I'm recording my pod. We understand that struggle of me jumping off of work, jumping over to you, doing this. So we're grateful for her time.
Part of the fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. Life be lifing sometimes.
Yes, very, very good. All right. Well, I'm glad she finally came on, and hopefully it was as meaningful for you as it was for us. So thank you for listening to Walk and Roll Live. I'm not sure who's coming up next week, but I will send you an email if you'd like to let you know who's on. Just go to our website and sign up for the once a week. Every once in a great while, there's something else I want to share with you, but for the most part, it's once a week, just to let you know that the new episode is out, and it's out everywhere every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Well, have a good week. You too.
Have a good week. You too. And like and subscribe and do all those thingies.
Yeah, please.
So that you can get it. So you don't just get our email, but you help us to move forward.
Hopefully you're feeling better and continuing in your healing there with your cold.
Let's hope. I'm tired of coughing on air. People are like, get a cough drop. No, it should be fine next week.
Anything exciting happening for you this week?
A healing.
That's it.
Heal.
Take it slow. All right. Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich from the UGYAR Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.